Okay, so this is the Honda Civic 2001 7th generation GLI model, and today we're going to change the coolant. Now the first thing you got to do is switch your car on, turn the ignition on and turn the heater gauge to full hot. Now once you've done that, you can switch the car off. Alright, and now I've jacked up the car, ready to go already, and now we're going to take the battery out. We're going to disconnect the negative lead first and then the positive lead. Okay, so we've disconnected the battery leads and now we're going to remove the battery from the car. So I would recommend that if you want to, first of all you need to get your radio code, and if you had any presets in your radio that you wanted to write down, maybe you should do that now. Okay, so that's the bracket out of the way, and we'll just we'll pull the battery out. Okay, so the battery is removed now, and the reason why we removed the battery is because the coolant overflow tank, we're going to pull that out as well and flush it out. So the only way to get that out is to remove the battery. Okay, so the next thing to do now will be to take off your radiator cap here, and then we'll go underneath the car and we'll open up the valve and we'll start letting the coolant out. Now it's worthwhile pointing out that you don't try and do this service until your car is actually cooled down. If you can't touch your hoses here and it's too hot, just wait till the car cools down a bit and then do it. Okay, so the car is cooled down enough now, so I'm just going to remove the cap. And inspection of the cap, the rubber's seal here is still pretty good, so that's one good thing. If the rubbers are all bad, you'd have to consider changing it. Okay, so now we're going to get under the car and open the valve up. So I've got my oil pan there ready to go to catch the coolant. Now let's jump under here. Hopefully you can see it. There it is there. So we're just got to open this thing up. Once you don't get it all over you. There we go. Okay, so we'll just let that drain for a while. Okay, so while the coolant's draining out, we're going to take out the coolant reservoir now. There's a little nut here on the side you need to take out. And once I get the nut out. Okay, so I've got the nut out and I should just be able to disconnect these hoses here off the side. And we'll pull it out. You can see there's still coolant in here and we want to drain this out. Okay, I'm just going to get a pair of pliers so I can get this little clip off the bottom, so I'll be back. Alright, so I decided not to take this bit off. There's actually a joiner piece here, so I'm just going to pull it out. Hose off here. There should be a little bit of coolant left in this line. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to get some distilled water and I'm going to flush the coolant tank out. Okay, so I've flushed it out with some distilled water and I gave it a quick wash just to pretty it up a bit, and that's ready to be installed again. I'm still waiting for the coolant to drain out, so we'll just wait a couple of minutes for that to finish and we'll keep going. Alright, so the coolant reservoir is reinstalled and the coolant now is totally drained out. It's probably a good point to mention that at the back of the engine block there is a bolt that you're meant to take out to drain out the remaining coolant. I find that bolt is far too difficult to get out, so I'm going to try a different way of putting the coolant in. So I'm going to reinstall the battery now. I'm going to fill this back up with brand new coolant, and then I'm going to fire up the engine and let it idle for a while, and after a minute or so I'm going to then repeat the procedure and then re-drain the coolant out once again. I should be able to then get the remaining coolant left in the block. Alright, so let's make a start on that. Alright, so filled up the coolant reservoir with the new coolant, and I've poured the new coolant now into the radiator. So I'm going to put this on loosely. Now I'm going to start the car up. I'm going to let the car warm up, so I want the radiator fan or the thermo fans to come on a couple of times to make sure that the coolant is circulating around. And then I'm going to do the whole thing again. I'm going to take the battery out. I'm going to drain the coolant out of the thing. I'm going to flush out the reservoir. That should hopefully get the majority of the old coolant out, and then I'll fill it up for the last time, and we'll take it for a test drive, and hopefully everything works out. So here we go. Alright, so warm the car up. It's at full operating temperature and everything's really hot now, so we're going to have to just wait for it to cool back down again before I can drain again. So I'd like to show you what I'm using. Now, there's going to be some of you Honda fans out there that aren't going to like the fact that this isn't coolant type 2. But here in Australia, if I go to the Honda dealership, they want about 55 Australian dollars for 5 litres of coolant, which I think is quite outrageous. So this brand here, it claims that it has no borates, phosphates, nitrates and silicants. So this is pretty much the exact same thing as the Honda coolant, but a lot cheaper. And alright, so we'll just wait for this car to cool down and keep going. Okay, so battery's back in with the casing. I've refilled the reservoir. I've refilled this up, the radiator up. Now I'm just going to take it around the block and double check and just heat the car up and stuff, and then I'll come back and recheck the levels one more time, and the job is done. So this is how I replace coolant in my Honda Civic. So thanks for watching.